On March 15th, my son Michael's 35th birthday, I hid in the back seat of his Toyota, clutching his favorite chocolate cake from Baker's Delight, eager to surprise him. I'd been waiting for nearly half an hour, barely containing my excitement for the perfect birthday moment. Footsteps approached, and I ducked lower, grinning at my clever plan. Michael slid into the driver's seat, but instead of starting the car, he waited. Then the passenger door opened, and a woman's voice cut through the silence. "Are you certain this will work?" she asked. My heart skipped. It was Claire Thompson, his business partner, whom I'd helped him bring on board 2 years earlier with a $25,000 loan for his advertising agency. "Absolutely," Michael replied, his tone icy, unfamiliar. The old woman handed everything over after Dad passed. Power of attorney, beneficiary updates, everything. She was so relieved when I offered to manage the paperwork. My hands tightened around the cake box. "Paperwork? What updates? And the house?" Claire pressed. Michael laughed, a chilling sound. "Already mine. She thinks it was just a deed tweak for tax reasons. My house, the one George and I had built over 40 years ago, was in his name?" Claire's voice turned sharp. "Your useless mother won't be an issue much longer. Once we're married, we'll move her to Pine Grove. She'll think it's for her own good." Married? My son was engaged, and I was learning it crouched behind his seat. "The nursing home fees will drain her savings fast," Michael added casually. "But that's not our concern." I stifled a gasp, my mind reeling. This was my Michael, the boy who'd clung to me during storms, the son I'd poured everything into after George's death 3 years ago. "What if she catches on?" Claire asked. Michael's voice was smug. "She won't. Mom trusts me completely. Always has. It's almost too simple." The engine roared to life. And as they drove off to celebrate his birthday, I sat frozen. Clutching a cake for a son who saw me as disposable, the drive to their restaurant felt endless. I stayed hidden, piecing together their betrayal. When they parked and left, I slipped out and called a cab. At home, I stared at the cake in my kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd taught Michael to cook, helped with his algebra, mourned George's passing together. How had I been so blind? But deep down, I knew I hadn't been. I'd ignored the red flags. After George's funeral, Michael had been so attentive. "Mom, let me handle the legal stuff," he'd said. "You're grieving." I'd signed every document he presented, grateful for his help. "Just a formality," he'd called the power of attorney. "Tax purposes," he'd said about the house deed. I'd trusted him, my successful son, the entrepreneur. Why wouldn't I? But the signs were there. His visits dwindled unless he needed money. He dodged questions about his life. He brushed off my mention of updating my will. And Claire, her fake warmth when she wanted something, her cold indifference otherwise. I'd even paid for her business training. My phone rang, Michael's name on the screen. "Hey, Mom," he said smoothly. "Sorry I missed you earlier. Claire and I were at dinner for my birthday." The lie came so easily. "Oh, how nice," I replied, steadying my voice. "Listen, can I come by tomorrow? We need to talk about some financial stuff." My stomach churned. "Sure, honey. Whatever you think is best." After he hung up, I stared at George's photo on the mantel. "You were right," I whispered. "People will take advantage if you let them." I barely slept, haunted by Claire's words, "Your useless mother won't be an issue much longer." By dawn, I was ready. At 63, I wasn't done yet. I started at Baker's Delight, where my friend Ellen had known me for decades. "Has Michael been in with a blonde woman, early 30s, polished?" I asked. Ellen hesitated. "Yes, several times. They're close. Holding hands, kissing. Last month, they looked at wedding cakes." Wedding cakes? The truth stung, but I kept my composure. "Don't tell anyone we spoke," I said. She nodded, worried. Next, I visited Citizens Bank, where I'd banked for 30 years. "I need to see all my accounts and who has access," I told the manager, Susan. The records were worse than I feared. Michael wasn't just a co-signer. He was the primary holder on my accounts. My savings, checking, even my CDs, his name was first. "When did this happen?" I asked. 18 months ago, Susan said. "You and Michael came in together. You seemed overwhelmed." Overwhelmed. That's what they'd call me when they shipped me to Pine Grove. "I need copies of everything," I said. At home, I spread the documents out, my signature on papers I didn't recall, beneficiary changes making Michael the sole recipient of George's life insurance. My phone buzzed, Michael texting he'd be late, arriving at 10:30. More time to prepare. I called my friend Joan, who'd faced her own family betrayal. This is elder financial abuse, she said. You need a lawyer, fast. Document everything and be careful. If Michael knows you're onto him, he might move quicker. She gave me the name of Diane Carter, an elder law specialist. At 10:30, Michael arrived, all smiles and charm, carrying a briefcase. Coffee? I offered, leading him to the living room. He pulled out papers. We need to simplify your accounts, Mom. One account, managed by me, so you don't have to worry. Worry, the word he kept using, as if my independence was a burden. And, he added, Claire and I are getting married next month. Small ceremony. I feigned delight. Wonderful. When did you decide? His eyes flickered. Recently. We're also looking at houses, but we need funds for a down payment. This house is too big for you now. We found a great senior community, Maple Villas. Maple Villas. I'd researched it, overpriced, poor reviews, isolated. This house has memories, I said cautiously. His jaw tightened. Mom, be practical. You can't manage it forever. What happens when you can't climb stairs? I stalled. Let me think about it. Impatience flashed across his face. We can't wait long. The house we want won't stay on the market. His timeline, not mine. After he left, I called Diane. That afternoon, in her office, she reviewed my documents. This was planned, she said. He exploited your grief. We can challenge the power of attorney, argue you weren't competent due to emotional distress. We can also file for elder abuse. But this will destroy your relationship with Michael. I thought of his cold voice in the car. That relationship is already gone. Diane advised secrecy. Pretend everything's normal while we build the case. Can you record conversations? It's legal here. I nodded. He's coming back next week to discuss more financial updates. I'll be ready. That week, I followed Claire. She lived in a sleek loft, drove a new Audi, worked out at an elite gym, and dined at pricey restaurants. Michael's agency wasn't that successful, unless it was funded by my savings. I called the realtor for the house they wanted. They're waiting on family funds, she said. My funds, Friday arrived. I hid Diane's tiny recorder in my sweater pocket. Michael spread papers across the dining table. Sign these to update your accounts and list the house, he said. I pretended to read them, a revised power of attorney giving him total control. You seem confused lately, Mom, he said. Forgetting conversations, repeating questions. We need to protect you. Lies, smoothly delivered. Are you stealing from me? I asked bluntly. His face hardened. How can you say that? I'm protecting you. I pressed. What about Claire? You're engaged, buying a house, planning to put me in Pine Grove. Convenient timing. His composure cracked. You followed her? That's stalking. Proof you need care. I smiled. I recorded you, Michael. You admitted taking my money for efficiency. His face paled. Delete it. That's illegal. Single-party consent state, I reminded him. You taught me that. He grabbed his papers and stormed out. This isn't over. I called Diane, sending her the recording. He confessed everything, I said. File charges now. She agreed, warning me to stay cautious. That night, Claire appeared at my door, all false concern. We're worried about you, Mrs. Sullivan. Paranoia, accusations, have you considered dementia? I stared her down. I know your plan, Claire. Stealing my money, locking me away. Her mask slipped. Marcus has responsibilities, to our future, to family wealth. My wealth, I corrected. You don't matter, she snapped, then left. Monday, I met Diane with my sister Ellen, who'd flown in from Denver. Diane revealed Michael's agency was failing, propped up by my $180,000. Claire had a history. Her previous husband, an elderly man, died after changing his will in her favor. She's a predator, Diane said. We're filing for theft, fraud, and conspiracy. We'll freeze the accounts and block Pine Grove. The fight would end my bond with Michael, but it was already broken. That night, Michael called, furious. I'm coming over. We're settling this. Headlights appeared, 2 cars. Michael, Claire, and a stranger. They pounded on my door, demanding entry. "We're here to help," Claire lied. "You're having a mental health crisis." The stranger, Dr. Evans, claimed he was there to evaluate me. Michael had a key and let them in. I confronted them with the recorder, playing his confession. Their faces froze. Sirens wailed outside. Diane had called the police. Officers arrested Michael and Claire for breaking and entering and elder abuse. Dr. Evans was Claire's cousin, a disbarred doctor. 6 months later, I stood in my garden, still mine, still home. Michael pleaded guilty, receiving probation and a restraining order. Claire faced trial for serial elder abuse, linked to 4 victims. I funded the Ellen Sullivan Community Garden with the restitution money, a bittersweet irony. Ellen moved nearby, and we rebuilt our bond. At 63, I was no longer the trusting widow. I'd fought predators and won, saving myself and others. My story wasn't over, it was just beginning, written on my terms. If you like the story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story.